Anastasia here. Welcome to another episode of Otaku Nightly Hour. Today, Raptor is not here for this topic because Raptor has said, and I quote, this topic intimidates me, for I know nothing. So I brought in someone that does know about this topic that we're going to talk about today, which is Dr.Clef. Hello.
I kept telling him you should come in. We needed the normie perspective, but like, it just be that way sometimes.
You do be like that. So today, we are going to talk about the the dumpster fire part 2 electric boogaloo, but this time instead of Ruby, it's Miraculous Ladybug. And Miraculous Ladybug, my god, do we have a love-hate relationship with this show?
But all I'm saying is the writers. I am convinced that the writers leave and come back as they whim, and then they bring in the interns, and the interns don't know what they're doing half the time, and then the writers come back,
Honestly, it feels like
and the
that.
interns
It,
go back
it,
to
it
sleep.
honestly feels like that. Me and Dr. Clef on our free time have talked about the Miraculous Ladybug show on and off so often that we have many complaints that would be like a freaking 2 hour long special on its own of all the complaints that we've had in talking about like specific episodes. But today we're just gonna talk about it as a whole because we have some notes. I don't think the creator is gonna ever watch this, but we have notes. And honestly, the notes that we take is for anyone who is thinking about writing a similar kind of character driven plotline with a little bit of like, side lore. Um, Basically, don't do this of what Miraculous Ladybug does. Honestly, we're probably going to learn from it ourselves for when we make story based games and such like that. And boy, are there some notes! so,
There's a lot of things to do.
so the main chunk that we're going to talk about, the big boy, is obviously the writing. Where do you want to start with this, Clef, with the writing?
You go from Hawkmoth to the current villain, and the current villain is somehow better, but at the same time worse.
Like, okay. So, as of this recording, this is before the premiere of season 6 of Miraculous Ladybug, but by the time this episode comes out, the first episode have already released, at least in Brazil. So for all we know, it probably is good, question mark, but at the same time, no clue. But here's the thing. So based on the other 5 seasons of the show, it kind of lacks in terms of writing to sustain itself. And we talked about it before, which was that like there's this one particular writer that keeps showing up on the credits only on the premiere and season finale of every season. And I don't know, but they need to keep him on full time. No lie. Right? Right, Clef?
Uh, Look, my disposition with this is yes, he has to stay full time. He should stay full time. Jesus Christ, don't let the interns touch the show again. But at the same time, I feel like, hey, you have to give somebody else a chance to, or at least in like give them do what oh, I forgot the name of the show.
I
I'm gonna use Steven Universe as an example here.
mhm.
Give it a season 1 and 2 plot where it feels good to actually look through it, but then let the interns practice by like sprinkling the like standalone episodes in there.
I feel it's very much like, okay, so in My Little Pony there are certain writers who make like really important episodes and they excel at in certain episodes. So for example, in My Little Pony, when it comes to very like hard story character driven and such, the creator really does step in that case because she wants to take the reins. And honestly, good for her. I love the show when it comes to like big plotline related things coming in. But when it comes to like character driven stuff, like more closer to the heart, more closer towards like certain social aspects and stuff, other writers do better, and letting them flesh that out in their portfolio of writing episodes is honestly really good. If you want to have like a whole season, it's like you are in charge of the season. You determine how the tone of this season goes, and I trust you to keep the tone consistent. It's fine. I don't mind if you use that as a writing practice, but monitor them if you are the creator to make sure that they're writing consistently.
Yes, but also no. So I feel like okay, again, I feel like you could just let them go off the rails a tiny bit, but like don't let them bake it into the overall story. Kind of just go like, oh, it was a one and done thing.
Mm-hmm. Like, okay, let's take a really important episode for example from Miraculous. I personally think the relationship between Marinette and Luca was kind of a little bit groundbreaking in terms of it because Marinette, her whole personality outside of being Ladybug has been oh my gosh, Adrian and such. But
I believe.
but like when they introduced Luca as like a love triangle situation, because we got in this weird sort of like singular line question mark love square between Ladybug, Marinette, Cat Noir, and Adrian kind of question mark. I was fine with the whole idea that it was Marinette, Luca, Adrian slash Ladybug, Luca, Cat Noir. You know, I was fine with that because Luca was nothing like the neither of them.
I'm just saying that like a good love triangle helps the story out every so often.
Mm-hmm. Especially when Luca is the most level-headed character in the entire show.
Now, hear me out. This is where I kind of want to beg to differ in like what a regular love triangle is. In any other series, right?
Mm-hmm.
The person who's at the center of the triangle is usually the one that has the most personality. In this case, Marinette only has a personality as Ladybug. Normal Marinette feels like a dying fish.
Like, okay,
And it
as the
makes it
show, as
feel
the I will argue, as the show went on, because we stick with Marinette a majority of the time of the show, kind of like how we grow up with Steven and Steven Universe and such, Marinette starts to get more Ladybug rubbing off on her civilian life. I will say that. But I out of 5 seasons, I see that mainly in season like 4 and 5.
yes. Which I understand it. My main issue with it is that I feel like the writers went like a little too hard with the secret identity thing where they're like, yeah, no, all of her personality is in the secret identity. But in her day to day, she's just kind of like she's got to be the most boring thing possible so that like, you know, nobody knows that she's Ladybug. And if you it's I like calling it the Clark Kent effect where
Mm-hmm.
you look at Superman and you're like, he's wearing glasses. That can't be Superman. Take the glasses. That's Superman.
Yeah,
It's,
it's like okay, okay. So from what I think happens, and according to the show, when they become their superhero personas, not only are their personalities more amplified, but they get a sprinkle of the Kwame's personality. So that's why Cat Noir is a little bit more flirty compared to Adrian, because that's mostly Platt talking.
yes.
And I
And I
don't
feel like
mind that. I don't mind that being the explanation if that was explained on the first time they do so is like you're getting a little bit more confident because that's me talking to you.
yeah,
But
no,
no,
and
we have to put it together. Or else it's
I
like
wish it was
assume it's the character just ah.
I wish it was canon though, but I also kind of feel like what is it? For writing, I feel like they're kind of doing this thing of like separation like instead of you physically being there, you're on the internet behind a monitor and that kind of gives you the confidence and I feel like that's also where it comes out of.
Mm.
'Cause, like he can distance himself from being Adrian and go like I'm Cat Noir. I have charisma. I get
I got the
I get
Riz.
wins. Exactly. I have charisma. Let's go.
But then like I do see some of the vulnerabilities when certain episodes when they talk about certain vulnerabilities show up is really nice and such. Like when Cat Noir he was waiting for Ladybug the entire time, but then saw Marinette was down in the dumps a little bit, try to cheer her up in his cat noir manner. But that's like Adrian showing more through than Plaque being playful, quote unquote, if we're gonna refer to such like that. And honestly, I like that they have this like secret relationship, not in a romantic sense, but more like we understand because we have very much one-sided love situation, and I like how they approach that. And then in the next episode, Marinette's dad confuses the whole thing, thinking that like Cat Noir is like possibly dating Marinette and stuff, and they're both flustered together, and he's like a bumbling mess, and I'm just sitting there like, you could just tell him that they're friends, and I don't think the dad would be mad about that. But you made this whole big deal where it's like, wow, you're a nice girl and everything. I'm so sorry and stuff like that, and I'm just like, really? What happened to the writer from that episode? To that one. Oh, right. The guy went on vacation for the rest of the season.
Hmm.
And then there's even stuff like some things get retconned a little bit and such. Like, what is it? Like,
I feel like that gets lost in translation, honestly. Like, those are translation issues more than anything.
yeah, to be fair, it is a French show being translated to English, and there are some nuances from the French language, and as well as like culturalism and such like that. Because I'm gonna be fair, I think it's Disney who's in charge of the dubbing, so there are a lot of things that get censored in a sense.
Hmm.
At least that's my understanding. It's not for kids level of censoring, but it is kind of the actual meaning gets downplayed quite a bit.
I mean, I feel like it is Disney censoring, but that's mostly because of something that happened recently. A little bit off topic,
Mm-hmm.
but they have been caught censoring some anime that they have the exclusive rights to translate.
Yeah, like Naruto
So
Shippuden and stuff like that.
yeah, and they've been cutting like scenes out and things. So I'm just like, maybe Disney is like not the best person to translate these things, especially if you want something that makes sense.
Yeah,
Because
but
then
at
like,
the same
this has-
time, who else is gonna pick it up? I know Nickelodeon ain't gonna pick it up again. They
oh no
did the
no,
first time, but then they didn't pick it up afterwards because no one was
Nickel.
watching it.
Well, yeah, but the thing is, Nickelodeon needs a win, and like they take too long to do anything, and their reputation's kind of ruined right now. So
Cause SpongeBob.
it's not even SpongeBob. It was Dan Get in the Van Man Schneider.
Oh yeah. But anyway, going back to the topic at hand, honestly, there are a lot of like things that get retcon, and I know what you're gonna say, but they have time travel and stuff like that. Some of the stuff it happens for a reason and stuff like that. Everything happens for a reason. No,
It does not. Sometimes the writers don't even know what they're doing half the time.
like okay, so you're meaning to tell me that this little girl's parents are a-okay her turning into like this superhero that time travels and she'll come back whenever she can and stuff, but a period of time maybe she's just not gonna hang out and stuff, but also all her classmates know she has this superpower. Fantastic.
Also, I feel like okay, I feel like it was a little too much of a coincidence too, just me, that Adrian and Marionette's Miraculous's form God. They straight up just make God. Like, you're
Like I
telling me
understand good luck, bad luck, the balance of order and everything, but also what?
you have a miraculous that can time travel. Like, and you're telling me all they had to do to fix that power is go like, oh yeah, Wonder Twins activate. Like, and immediately their power is stronger than the ability to time travel and to like recreate literally the natural order of things.
Oh no. If you want to get into writing stupidity, let's look at anyone else but freaking Gabriel Agrest and his big brain moves. And
Well,
also
okay,
not so big brain moves.
to be fair, at the very end, they gave him a very dignified way out by going like, okay, maybe I don't want to be the bad guy anymore, but I'm not gonna give up on my thing, so I'm just gonna, really quickly take myself out of the equation.
Yeah. So okay, the first time we really looked at Gabriel slash Hawkmoth, or OG Hawkmoth, by the way, because new Hawkmoth is gonna happen. Don't know what her name's gonna be, but okay. So when Hawkmoth first proposed, this was like late. This is later seasons. Early season Hawkmoth was your regular, Saturday morning cartoon villain, kind of thing and stuff like that. So we're gonna give that kind of a pass because that was the quota at the time. But like, okay, the first giant move that he did that we honestly thought, wow, he actually thought this through, and then didn't. So
Exactly.
so going back with the time travel, and yes, we understand time travel in any equation makes everything bonkers. But hear me out.
Look, time travel is acceptable if you build the rules and you stick to the rules.
Yeah.
However, it's also a very big like no in writing because it overcomplicates things. And even if you stick to your rules, sometimes you go like, man, I have time travel, but I also don't want to go like, I don't want to stick to my rules. So what if I say that like it's not that the rules work this way, but that every time you do it, it branches into another reality and you're just coming back into that one.
Mm-hmm. So let's establish the rules of how time travel works in Miraculous Ladybug. Miraculous Ladybug has confirmed that time travel for Miraculous is like a golf ball. For every hole that is on every divot that's on the golf ball is multiple different realities that could occur based on what is to happen on the timeline. Bunnix, the main holder of that Miraculous for time travel, is responsible to making sure that all timelines are correct, everything stays in line and stays golden in her timeline, so that you don't get world-ending catastrophe and stuff like that. She's the protector of that, which honestly is a lot for a kid, given she speaks to like three versions of herself, but they all get along well together. So
I feel like that, okay, on that front, I feel like that's kind of wasted writing potential because instead of having the ability to time travel, you're not so much time traveling as it's splitting into you're kind of just peeking into another dimension real quick and coming back and going like, oh, that's how that went down.
mm-hmm.
Or like, well, she has the ability to talk to different versions of herself.
And that
So
doesn't mess with things and stuff like that.
yeah,
Like every time time travel is mentioned into the show Miraculous, which by the way happens a little bit more than you think, but it's not that much after the time travel topic gets introduced, honestly. Like out of the 5 seasons that we have, I think they talk about time travel out of every 24 episodes per season is like maybe 8, 10 times, which honestly is a lot. I'm gonna be fair. It's kind of a lot for a show.
yeah, no, I see it.
Yeah, but anyway, they kind of like bend the rules a little bit more to kind of like, okay, this is getting into BS territory, but also kind of not. They're really straddling the line there on BS time travel rules. But anyway,
Look, yeah, no, it kind of comes back to the thing where it's like a lot of writers think time travel is cheap for the exact same reasons you're going on right now. That you write yourself into a corner and then time travel is like the way you deus ex out of it, but then you're like, okay, how do I get rid of time travel now?
mm-hmm.
It turns into a mess.
Yeah. So I don't mind some of the rules that the time traveling works in Miraculous Ladybug. But here's the thing. Gabriel Agreste, he's just stolen every single Miraculous from Marinette's hands and has every single one of them minus, the two that he needs, which is the black cat and the ladybug.
Again, you put God in good luck and bad luck, but you have the power over the universe, and you're just like,
Those two.
nah, I need those two specifically.
Yeah. And keep in mind, we have Miraculous of many different things, but we'll touch on that in a bit. Let's just focus on the time travel. Stick with me here. I feel like that one character from The Office with the like sprue board on the with all the red string, just like it all connects. But anyway, so he has the power of time travel. So he goes in to time travel, which by the way, he looks very stupid. Design wise, he looks very stupid, but let's put that. That's another pin on the board.
He looks like he doesn't even look like a B-list supervillain. He looks like I don't even want to say C-lister because like
He looks
he's
worse than the original Hawkmoth design, and that's saying a lot considering he has condom head.
well, yeah, okay. In the defense of the French, not something I thought I would say. They're a very sexually liberated culture. So a lot of the times things that we see like condom head, they're just like, oh, it's a hat. Or it's like, oh,
It's a mask.
it's a cover. Yeah, it's a
Look,
mask.
if it was not silver, I would be fine.
What do you mean? That's the only color that fits his design.
I would have been fine if it was the purple originally and that his suit was all black with purple highlights. I would have been fine with that, but no. They said purple suit, black highlights. We can't put a black mask because that would just be a generic black mask and also blackface concerns. So let's make it silver. And I'm like, no.
Or hear me out. They could have just, given him a hat or something on top of that. That made him look a little more professional instead of condom head. And they could have kept it and gone like, oh yeah, it's just a mask with a hat on it.
Yeah, or like, they could have just like honestly, a big like a big like beret kind of thing would have been really cool because then conceals the identity over the face, so you can have like front facing shots but still conceals identity. Anyway, going back to the story, he has the time travel miraculous. He's gonna go back to the original issue at hand of what caused all of this and everything, which was involving his wife.
So to be fair though, I feel like whenever you do those kinds of things where you're like, oh, I'm gonna try to have my character time travel back in time to try to fix the issue that's causing him to have the time travel powers in the first place.
Yeah. Like, okay, so the issue is that his whole plan is to bring his wife back to life. That is the main goal, correct? So he's like, okay, let me go to the night that changed everything, that caused the issues, which is the night that they tried to conceive Adrian using the miraculous, the Peacock Miraculous, which at this point of the story is all types of effed up, broken, and could cause like life-threatening side effects. Right? We're up to this point.
Also, how little do you think of your child that you're going back in time to literally stop his conception? I'm just here and I look at her. I'm like, okay, so first we're gonna start with this, right? Let's just say he recovers his wife. If he can remember things through the timeline being changed, he's gonna go like, wait a minute, where's my kid? And it's gonna start the whole thing all over again. It's just that now Marinette will actually have, a proper romance instead of the will they won't they
with a person.
Exactly.
But anyway, so he's just right there. He's about to get into the portal of the very moment things were about to go awry in his life. We don't care about anything else with Miraculous. We're focused on we're sitting in his shoes and thinking about, okay, this is what I need to do. And it's a very foolproof plan, right? Right? The only thing that would probably mess it up is Marinette comes in, tries to fix the timeline, and now she's gonna be in a spot where she says well, this man his entire time was just trying to save his wife and such. But we don't get that more interesting plotline. We get, wait, I could stop Ladybug now. I have multiple different timelines in which I could fix my errors of defeating Ladybug and get her miraculous. And I'm just sitting there like, oh my god, you.
Also, it's kind of a kick in the head at the fact that like once he actually pops the godly miraculous into existence again, it kind of goes like, hey, you know, just because I am God doesn't mean I'm actually gonna do what you want. And I'm basically gonna give you the choice. You can replace something to get back what you want, or we can just say F it and have a very long chat in this like essentially pause time room thing that we're currently in.
Yeah, like you could really think this through, and such.
And I like how
Which
Gabriel basically goes
we're
like,
skipping to that. We're skipping to that because that was the dumbest part and everything. Even the show calls it out. In the writing, a character who's his personal assistant who's been helping him like with all the evil doings and stuff calls him out on it and says, "You are stupid. You had it in the grass of your hands." And
you had the literal power of God and anime with you,
in time travel, and then you lost
and
it.
you ducked it.
Yeah.
Also, if the time travel miraculous lets you go back in time and mess with time any way you want without the consequence of literally popping God into existence, why? Where? For the love of I want to know which intern went. Yeah, no, you know what would be really cool? We can have him try go like hyper obsessive on getting his ass beat by Ladybug instead of just going back in time and going like, hey, you should
Yeah, and
probably
we
like
would have had the more interesting plotline of Marinette notices time is like being messed up. Bunnix comes back and says, "You have to come fix the timeline." We don't know where it messed up, but we know it's through this portal and this portal only. Investigate through, and we get a more deeper meaning of, oh, that's why you've been after us this entire time, and have this revelation to
no, yeah,
sympathize
okay.
with him.
You could have had the revelation and at the exact same time put up a moral quandary going like, if I fix this, am I the bad guy?
Yeah, like if I fix it to get to the timeline that I originally am, we're gonna get our bad guy again and such. I'm essentially gonna murder a woman.
Exactly, but no, they kind of go like, oh no 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 no. First, I have to set the record straight. I did not lose a single time against her. It was 10-0. I didn't
And
get
I'm
my butt
like,
beat a couple times.
it's just, oh my god. You had a really cool plot line coming in, and then you said, "This is for the rated E for everyone" kind of thing, and it's like, no, it's not rated E for everyone. This is writing supervillain timelines for idiots.
Okay. Honestly, I feel like they do it sometimes, but they do it on purpose. Like they'll grab an intern and go like, "Hey, I need you to write me a script that artificially extends the showtime so that we can keep milking the audience for another like 2 seasons." And the intern goes like, "Okay, how dumb do you want it?" It's like, "How dumb can you get?" Yes.
It's like, here, the actual good writer, he's out on vacation again. Good luck.
End the show, please. Please.
And then, okay, we're gonna skip to like the last episode of the quote unquote recent season and such like that. I don't think it's the exact last episode, but it's like somewhere fitting around there and stuff like that. So, that Clef keeps bringing up, Gabriel Agreste, he finally has the miraculous of Cat Noir and the miraculous of Ladybug, puts them together, and we get God. And the
Quite
rules,
literally.
yeah, and they combine together and explain the rules of how it works for this one wish, the one fatal wish that it has been pining at us this entire time for 5 seasons and such. Because we always thought, is it a genie situation where they could be playful and just be like, "Oh, you want this? Be very careful what you say and F it up," or is it just like free wish, no consequences, here's everything you have kind of thing. So they explained it like this, and I'm gonna try to roughly quote what they say. What they say. For everything that you wish, there must be something equal of value that must be exchanged for it. So if you want your strawberries to be blue, your blueberries will be red,
Exactly.
and such. That is the best way to explain it. Which I don't know why they use fruit for that example, but it's the best way to explain it, and I'm honestly okay with that example and such. So Gabriel, big brain, big brain timeline. I am going to try to bring back my wife for my son. Who should I exchange that for? Me. And I'm like, no.
You could have straight up picked Marinette. There was nothing she could have done, and at the exact same time, gotten rid of all of your problems.
No, no, no. You wanna know who I would have picked that also was very voluntarily okay with being
The
that person?
secretary?
The secretary. Because here's the thing, the secretary has these vibes of like she's in love with Gabriel and stuff like that kind of thing. Which, by the way, is the exact person that called him stupid on the time travel episode. Which, honestly, fair.
No, I would have called them out the exact same way too. I'm like, you had it right there. What do you mean you had to? You only needed for one win.
But here's the thing. She has been acting kind of like Adrian's mother figure. So, in a sense, she is the exact equal that you need. Sure, you'll be out of a secretary, but they come a dime in a dozen. You only have one wife and one mother.
Also, how much do you even pay her? You'd be saving a ton of money. Consider, look, taking it from the economic standpoint, considering like how much you actually invest into the company and how long she's been there, that paycheck has to be huge.
We don't even know like where she lives. We assume she lives on site in the manor area because you have easy access to her to talk to her almost every single freaking day and stuff like that, or somewhere nearby the estate. Which, by the way, big estate.
Mind you, you bring your wife back, right? Let's say he sacrificed Marinette.
Mm.
The secretary is still in love with you, and knowing the secretary's personality, because I keep forgetting her name.
I'm not gonna
Knowing
look
her
it up.
personality.
French names.
Yeah, no, I'm not. Who. No, knowing the secretary's personality, I wouldn't put it past if one day a writer just comes and goes like, what if she attempts to kill the wife to take Gabriel? Or like akumatizes her, like she becomes the new Hawkmoth,
And
and
stuff
she
like
goes like,
that.
oh well, I can akumatize her, get her out of the way, and then like maybe I get my shot there.
Huh? So
And that
everything
would
would have been
still be a
fine.
better plot
Everything
point.
would have been fine. We wouldn't have Ladybug. We wouldn't have Cat Noir. Big. That would have been the big win for Hawkmonth in a sense. And you get to have your cake and eat it too. That's it. That's all you have to do. But like the writers were like, we're gonna write him a final goodbye. Which honestly, okay? Question mark. But I mean, like, I don't really. Adrian is still gonna have one parent.
You're still gonna have one parent. You're gonna have to explain how the Peacock Miraculous somehow killed the Hawkmoth instead.
Also, you're gonna have to explain, because here's the thing: the wish does not rewrite the timeline. The wish just makes it happen and such. There's no way. There's no way to rewrite what happened in the past. Adrian's just gonna suddenly have his mom again, and Gabriel Gress is just gonna be dead. Because afterwards, after that wish is made, Ladybug has to have this press conference that reveals that because she takes the higher road for this, not reveal Gabriel as Hawkmoth this entire time, and say that Gabriel was a hero for the sake of Adrian, and suddenly Adrian just realizes, well, I have a mom now. My mom's back all of a sudden, and I'm just like,
Yeah, nobody ever questioned that. They're just like, oh yeah, no, I'm gonna roll with it.
I know in the writing they said that Adrian's mom has been gone, but they always allude to it in a sense that she's dead. But if the actual writing says that, oh, she's been gone, like she's been away, no one has seen her, she's been missing and stuff like that, they never paint it as such. So the only
Also,
way that we could assume everyone else is on the same page is that she's dead.
yeah, no, that also kind of brings to mind. It's like, then why would you need God to figure out where she's at? Like, you have all the resources on the planet. You can literally time travel to see what happened.
Yeah, and such like
She's
that.
either dead. She's either dead or stuck in another dimension. Like one of the two. Pick a side.
Yeah, and such, which we all know she's been down under the manor, encapsulated in time in her shrine. Which, by the way, high tech technology could keep a dead body preserved as if nothing has happened for how long?
I
How old is
forgot.
Adrian?
I forgot.
Anyway, so that's the writing. Don't do that.
It's great. A lot of the complaint is basically just don't write a Deus Ex Machina that you don't know how to get out of.
Mm-hmm. And
Or
we're
in
not
this
even.
case,
That's the first point out of 5 that we have for Miraculous Ladybug, and we've been talking about the writing for 35 minutes. So, grab your seatbelt, guys. We're gonna have a rush hour segment for the next 4 parts. So, animation. I hate it.
yes. There's nothing more to say about that. Animation is so inconsistent and makes the
Okay,
storytelling sound better.
okay. Let me just say, starting from what it could have been, a 2D anime series, I would have been fine if it was 2D. I understand that for the sake of like the models being consistent, especially with drawing the dots on Ladybug the entire time. I understand why they had to go into the 3D concept to make everything consistent and such like that. Which, by the way, new season glow up, I'm a little hesitant on it, but but that's probably me being used to the original 5 seasons.
To be fair, to be fair,
Yeah,
they're trying to do something new.
which
I
is okay.
understand where they're going. I'm understanding where they're going with it. They're trying to like soft reboot. But please, for the love of God, do not bring back the animators from season like 3 and 4.
Yeah, because I think, what was it? They sent it to Korea to animate, and there were some inconsistencies. Let's just say that.
There are some very questionable animation choices.
Yeah, like I remember for one of the episodes where it's Marinette and her mom. Marinette just doesn't have eyelashes for a good like section for a quick scene.
I don't remember which episode it was, but I remember I was going through YouTube Shorts and it popped up in a clip, and I was looking at it, and there is a whole part where Marinette's arm just kind of disappears behind her back. Like I'm not talking about like her arm goes behind her back and you can't see it. No, I'm talking about like the silhouette just cuts off at the arm
Like it's
and
clipping
it's
into
just
her
gone.
body kind of thing.
It's clipping into her body, and the animators looked at it and went like,
Yeah,
"Yeah,
that's
no,
okay.
no, that's fine. It's fine."
Please have quality control.
That's always the first thing that goes when you downsize.
And then, second of all, in terms of animation and such, I understand there's a lot of limitations in which you want to render things and such, so a lot of the designs get a little bit toned down a little bit. But here's the thing, some of the character designs are very kind of funky in terms of it, from
Well, that's one
paper
thing that's funny.
to that. Like, why
I
do we
look at
have
the
characters with certain body types produce that? Like Marinette's mom, Marinette's dad do not make Marinette.
sometimes that genetic lottery has to hit you somewhere. Like I have a friend who like I look at his parents and then I look at him and I think, did like did you get hit with the ugly stick somewhere?
My and speaking of the ugly stick character designs, which do play with the animation point and such, there are some character designs that do lack because the hard limitation of the 3D designs and such like that. So, for example,
Yes.
I looked at let's take Viperion for example, because we have 2 designs for Viperion. Luca Viperion, I like it, but it could have been more, like a tiny bit. Because, like, I'm gonna say it now, Carapace was actually a really top tier, like, concept design. And I liked it a lot. But y'all ruined it when you moved on to every other member in the classroom getting a miraculous. What the hell was what these designs?
All I'm saying too is you essentially gave the snake the ability to be immune to physical damage to begin with.
Hmm.
Like you have to hit him with what is essentially a truck going at like 200 miles an hour to actually do
Before he
anything.
like as long as his hand does not meet bracelet.
You gave him essentially one of the best miraculouses for combat ever, and then you flumped it.
And then design wise, like, okay, look at
Design
Viperian
wise,
Luca, and then look at Viperian Adrian. Again,
look,
condom head.
look, Vaporeon Luca looks like a Power Ranger. I cannot stress this enough. He looks like a Power Ranger. He looks like the Green Ranger from the first season of Power Rangers.
And then that
Except he
pose. What
has
the hell is that pose at the end?
exactly.
And then, okay, Viperian Adrian is not the best. I understand it's a snake. You can't really give snake hair question mark kind of thing, but you did with Luca, so I don't know why. But then Adrian Viperian with again with the condom head mask thing. Ah!
Hey, 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 hey. Like father, like son. You know, sometimes it just be. Also, how do the Miraculouses pick the costumes? Because sometimes I look at the Miraculouses picking out the costumes, and I'm like, are you designing this yourself, like on the fly, based on like the character's personality? Because if so, that says quite a bit about Adrian and the Vaporeon one.
Yeah, and then like okay, and then the mouse multi mouse Marinette. By the way, beautiful. I love her, but obviously they give a very special design team of like 20 people just for Marinette to look at, so that like they review her because Marinette's gonna be on screen like a majority of the time. But then we look at multi mouse, the actual person that we're supposed to give it to her, and I have questions.
You want to know something that's really funny?
What?
On the topic of multi-mouse Marinette, I was going through my local Walmart and I stopped to look at some Legos, and like half an aisle down, they had some miraculous toys, and I passed right by it, and DC basically pointed it out to me, and we saw the multi-mouse toy, and then right next to it is the basic Ladybug toy, and you know which one is specifically which one I'm talking about. I sent you a picture of that one, and oh boy, do they? You can tell who the writers really love to like write for. You can tell who the toy companies want. Like, you know what? This is cool and everything, but multi-mouse.
Because
I'm like,
again,
you could have.
I have no problem with the multi mouse uh, design team and stuff like that. I understand it's kind of hard to like translate it to 3D and like make sure everything looks like doesn't like be super drastic or offensive and stuff. But like, first of all, it's an insult to her because she is one of the more curvier characters in the show. To give
You
her
can't see it,
such
but I'm putting up an okay.
to give her such a sort of like plain-ish design and stuff like that. Which, by the way, Clef, I'm sending this to you so that you could see it along with me and such. So so this is the actual like design for multi mouse, and then Marinette's multi mouse. I think personally is a lot more like visually appealing that it is a mouse and such. The other one I could honestly confuse with the pig miraculous a tiny bit, the piglet one.
I can see it, but at the same time, I'm just like the okay. So I get what the writers and what the design team was trying to do with it. They're trying to make her like little dumpling ball hair. Sorry, I'm bad at naming hairstyles. They were trying to make that the ears.
Yeah, and obviously the other
But
character doesn't have that, but here's you don't.
also, it literally just looks like they took her normal ladybug form and went like, okay, can we
Hey,
just like recolor a lot of it? Just take away the red, add like three basic colors and give her hair buns. There we go, hair buns. That's what it was.
Yeah, and stuff. There, you're done. But then we get like the villains design and stuff like that. Some of the villain designs are fine. I have no problem with it. And then the other ones are like, what happened to you?
I forgot. It
The
was one of
the
the akumatized. It was one of the akumatized miraculous. It was one of those episodes where I'm trying to remember the name of it. I absolutely hated the fucking design.
let
Also, I'm
me
sorry for.
no, you're fine and stuff. Let me see. Akumatized miraculous and such. And here's the thing. Here's the thing. The only reason why we're like getting really up in arms in terms of it is that like we've seen the designs of like fans interpreting like what could have been for some of the designs of all the characters and stuff. And honestly, I was down for some of them. I liked how like some people made designs for certain characters based on like if they got this miraculous or they got akumatized because of this and such. But the the show really lets down a lot after we see such great creative freedom from the fans that honestly, which is the next point, the fandom has a lot more interesting ideas for the world of Miraculous than the actual writers do. Because I've read many a cool fanfic of like miraculous stories that honestly make this the show look like fanfic.
Trying to remember.
Like, okay,
I'm trying to remember who it was, but basically she looked like a French flag, and I'm like, that's literally her thing. Like she just looks like a French flag. It's literally she's literally just like a French flag, and I think she had like a star on her chest, and that was about it. And I'm like, that's it. You have so much other creativity with the other ones.
like okay, my favorite design personally, and I think I'm a little bit biased because I like the character, is that painter Kuma villain. Honestly, I really liked it. I think it was very much like you got the point across from afar. From afar, like if you were just generally look at it, you're like, oh yeah, he's a painter super villain, so he paints everything into reality. Simple concept. That's everything that you need. Like Cat Blanc is just white cat instead of black cat. Okay, simple, gets the point across and stuff like that and everything. And then have you seen Gabriel's like akumatized persona that he tried to give himself so that he would so he could get like taken off from like any suspect list of being Hawkmoth?
yeah,
That this design, what of it screams his superpower in that? Because nine times
he's
out of
got a book.
ten,
He's all right there.
because 9 times out of 10, when I look at certain designs, I want to know right away that's your superpower. And some of the designs just don't hit it. Like Lady Wi-Fi. Lady Wi-Fi. She has the Wi-Fi. She has her phone and stuff like that. Yes, hers is anything related with the phone, like pausing people and stuff like that. Going from like getting into your like routers and stuff like that, hacking into your systems and such. Cool, cool, cool. I got that.
That's such a fucking underrated power right now too, because like,
Everyone has
can you?
Wi-Fi.
Well, no, yeah, but more importantly, like I don't. Okay, so like the most recent thing that happened where a bunch of systems went down because someone changed one to a zero, and it cost like a lot of hospitals, a lot of airplanes to be delayed, and it
Mm-hmm.
was an error. Can you imagine that power nowadays and just go like, yeah, you know what?
Oh, you wanna
Good.
know what was the one that made me like look at it and think, man, that's an insult. So, okay, there was an episode where Marinette's uncle was coming in because he's like a really famous chef. And he was coming in to serve the mayor and his family a very special meal for like some kind of event and everything. And because Chloe is like really like disinterested because it's not to her standards, which is anything but the richest people in the world. So
Yeah,
he
and
gets
I'm
it.
just
So the uncle gets akumatized and everything, and such like that. And he's angry. He's this angry chef, superpower related stuff. Okay, that's fine. I'm okay with that. His design, however, is just a straight up insult to other people outside the French. And I look at it and I think, man, that would not fly if it wasn't an anime reference.
it is literally just blackface Goku.
Yeah, and I hate
I
it.
think it's funny.
I
I
hate it. Like,
honestly,
I understand it's a joke, but honestly, it's a joke that does not age well.
well, okay, if you put it in context of nowadays, yeah, sure, it didn't age well. But at the time, it was just kind of like, oh, the color contrast looks cool and all, and like
It's Evo Goku and stuff like that. That's
it's
it.
evil Goku essentially. But I mean, you could have done. Here's the thing: if you had inverted the colors where he's got the red and the black, and you'd inverted it, a lot of people would have been like, "Oh, that's racist to Indians." Versus because the
I
whole
would
thing
have
that happened with
preferred if
like,
he was red because then it would have been an Oni.
well, yeah, but then a lot of people would have looked at it and gone like, "Oh no, that's a cultural appropriation because you're not using it properly and you're like making fun of it." I'm like, you can't please everybody, so just go with what you think is best,
Yeah, but like again, I think it's more in the sense of like
as
all
long as it makes
all the
yeah.
designs usually either blend into here's his body shape, we're gonna keep it to the same body shape and such like that. Like with Gabriel's, with Marinette's, Adrian's and stuff like that. Like the design that they already have, or we're gonna drastically change their silhouette and such, which is fine. I don't mind that. Like when it happened with the mayor and his wife, they turned into like a two-sided head thing and stuff like that. Honestly, some of the designs I would be fine with it if they like went more drastic to the monsterly kind of thing. But that's uh that one is who on the design team okay this.
Someone on the design team okayed it, and it wasn't me.
All right, and then the final thing I want to talk about before we talk for like more than an hour, is that Gen 2, which is going to be season 6, 7? Yeah, season
Mhm.
6, and such like that. Honestly, I have hopes for. With all the critiques that we've said, I'm not saying, "Oh, let's like riot the show, never happen again," and stuff like that. I want it to succeed. I want
Yeah,
it
we're
to
not against.
actually be really good.
Yeah, we're not against the show at all. It's just that like sometimes you need to give the show a kick in the pants to like actually get it to go back to where it has to be.
Yeah, because the first season was fine. I was okay with the show being like a Saturday morning cartoon of like, hey, every week there's a new villain stuff. Because honestly, with all the lore related shows kind of things, I'm okay with just a mundane like superhero kind of show to show the kids and such like that. I could sit down and watch Bluey. I'm fine with that. But
I look at it and I look at Code Lyoko and I'm like, God, when you really think about it, that was not a kid show. Jeez, with the amount of sexual tension going on in that show, plus the actual murders that happen,
what weren't they
that
like 10?
yeah,
Uh,
they're like between I think it was like 10 and 12, I think.
I don't like that.
Wait, okay, now I have
I
to
know
know.
there's a live action Code Lyoko.
Yeah, Evolution, I think is what it was called.
It was weird, but anyway, with Miraculous Ladybug, with Gen 2 coming up, there is a character, Lila, who is now the new Hawkmoth holder, which we saw kind of the last bits of her potential as the new villain in either a special or the very last episode of season 5 and such. I have high hopes because Lila was a more interesting villain. Because I'm not gonna
Okay.
lie, she was a lying bee, and I'm okay with her becoming the new big villain. I just don't want her to last long enough to become an idiot like Gabriel. That's on
From what
me.
I've seen, from the clips that have like been kind of, I don't want to say leaked, not the right. word for
But
it.
that's been like floating around on the internet.
Yeah, that have been floating around. I'm like, okay, we're off to a good start. Now, can we keep it? Is
Yeah,
the
because
real
like
question.
there's a clip going around, and don't quote me on this because it could just be like someone made something up and stuff. But honestly, it looks a little too real for it to be a fan made thing and such like that.
Yeah, it's just the style a little too like on point.
Yeah, and such. There's a scene where Lila is kind of like this white glowy figure talking to this person, and is instead of like saying like you have been wronged and such like that, like how
Oh
Gabriel
yeah,
does it with a more aggressive approach, she
she's whispering
she
like sweet nothings into the ear, and I'm just like,
she's like sympathizing with them. It's like allow me to give you this power so that you be able to do what you need to do and right the wrong, and making them feel empowered like what I'm doing is right, not I'm doing this because this is justice. It's like I'm right and I need to show the world that this is what it means, this is what I mean, for my right to be my wrong to be right and such.
exactly.
She's making them believe that they're going to be a hero rather than a villain. And honestly,
It's a devil on the shoulder situation, and I'm all for it.
I like it, especially because it plays into Lila what we already know, which is that she's very much a people pleaser for her benefit. And it's scary, and I like it.
Mm,
For all we know, Lila's actually not the age that she says she was when we first meet her. For all we know, she could be older. She could be younger. Mm-mm.
that is also true, considering that like we had a
Like
essentially
we had a whole season in which she was like quote unquote in high school and stuff like
yeah
that.
no, but then the coin flipped, and you're like, oh, she's old.
Like
Oh, she's
yeah,
old.
like she goes off to like a college class and stuff, and they were like, "Wow, we missed you for a whole semester" and stuff like that. And she's older, and it's like, wait a minute, how are you?
How
Are
old
you
is she?
younger? Are you older? It's like who are you?
Are you? Exactly.
And I like that. Like if there was a
But yeah,
chameleon miraculous, she would be the perfect fucking fit.
that was okay. I feel like that's the writers at their best. That's the writers doing what they should be doing the whole time.
Lila.
Not the interns. Again, not the interns, the writers. And Jesus Christ. Okay. If they don't answer any of the questions associated with her, aka like who the hell is she in the first place, I'm gonna be upset.
I need to know. Like, yeah, we got this big whole like reveal of Adrian possibly being well, what's the term that they use for the peacock miraculous, the little monsters and stuff?
Um,
A senti monster, yeah, and stuff like that.
I never-
Yeah, they have like this roundabout way of explaining like, yeah, he might be a senti monster because there's this story between a prince and a princess, and that they use the peacock miraculous to conceive a child because they've been unable to do so for a long time and stuff like that.
but all I'm just saying is they're probably not trying hard enough.
You know, there's with Gabriel's money, they could have just made a tube baby.
Oh yeah, for sure. But for some reason, Gabriel was like, you know what? Nah,
Nah,
we have this.
I need to make sure it's mine and hers and only ours. No possible error and stuff like that. We're gonna keep doing it traditional way. No magic.
It would be nice if all the miraculouses followed the kind of like God rule, where like there has to be an exchange for the power.
Yeah, and
There
such
has to
like
be,
that.
you know. But I go back to the time travel one, and I'm like, it has literally no downsides. You're just stupid.
There's a like okay, the downside is that when the Kwamis do it by themselves, it is either it is rolling a not rolling a d20 with disadvantage
Oh
every
yeah,
single time. But when you have like an actual person and such, maybe it's without disadvantage. I don't know. It just depends on if they know what they're doing. But 9 times out of 10, Marinette gives the miraculous to the right person that knows how to do it.
that's another thing. Okay, the miraculous have consciousness. Why the hell can't they just go like, you know what? I'm gonna turn myself off until I find somebody I like.
Mm-hmm. Like for all we know, the horse could be like real picky and just be like, no,
I don't like you.
I don't like you. You're a nerd.
No,
No, really, he is. He is. She gave it to the guy with the robot.
yeah, I know, but I didn't expect the word nerd to come out. I just feel like, oh, he's a geek, or like, oh, he's kind of soft. Nah, nerd. Went right for the jugular.
Anyway, but yeah, I really look forward to what could be coming for Miraculous. If Miraculous kind of reins it in a bit and, you know, gets its shit together.
That is the hope. I will keep my fingers crossed. My fingers crossed, and hope Gabriel's right out of the show wasn't in vain,
Yeah,
and
because
we get a better supervillain.
yeah. So that's it for tonight. If you guys have any other topics that you want us to rant about and stuff like that, please comment below. Very happy to hear any responses from you guys. And until next time, you want to say anything before we go, Clef?
Marinette is a lie. Adrian should be dead, and we should have a better show because writers.
All right. And y'all have an Otaku Nightly Hour. Bye.
Y'all have a good night.